أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رسول يا سيدي ماذا شاء ناظم الحق ماذا يا حضرة الأستاذ عبد الله الفائز وسلم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر لله الحمد. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. يا رسول الله أوصنا يا حبيبي يا ربنا يا الأمان الأمان يا شيخنا عبد الله الدرساني أمان شيخنا ناظم الحق مددكم نزلكم علينا أمدونا بمددكم أمدنا يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. مغفرة ورضوانه. Our beloved Jama'ah of Ahlullah, whom they are beloved to Allah Almighty, beloved to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, beloved to Mawlana Shaykh Nazim, beloved to Grand Shaykh Mawlana Shaykh Abdullah Dastani, beloved to Sahib al-Zaman and all Grand Shaykh, beloved to Awliyaullah Azza wa Jal, and to Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi and Sahabati Rasulullah. And this love comes from Allah Almighty and Rasulullah for all of us through the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu an and Sayyidina Ali radwanullahi alayhim. They were the Imam of Taqwa, the most beloved to Rasulullah and the most ones whom Rasulullah was in familiarity with them, and to love them and to make everyone related to them spiritually or physically to be beloved to him. And the one who is beloved to Rasulullah is beloved to Allah Almighty. And for this we say, the one whom they searching for spirituality, for realities, the ones whom they want to be ascending in Mi'raj to reach to their heavenly stations, which Allah Almighty promised not to prevent it from anyone, but to give it to everyone who will do his best in progressing and struggling in the ways of Allah Almighty, in the ways of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the ways of all the prophets, in the ways of all shara'i laws, which divinely laws coming from Allah Almighty. Allah will open for them divinely heavenly ways, with them they will be dressed by divinely bodies, by divinely legs, by divinely feet, by divinely shoes, which can step and walk on these heavenly ways, which they, Allah Almighty, created them to be from the holy lights of the holy face of the holy essence of Allah Almighty, and from the holy lights of the holy face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which mean they are ways reflected from the divinely ocean of oneness which related to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from the divinely lights of uniqueness of Ahadiyya which related to the divinely holy lights of the holy essence of Allah Almighty. Anyone likes, most welcome. Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshbandi Muhammad al-Waisi al-Bukhari, the Imam of our Naqshbandiyya Aliyya way, which he chose this name for it because has got the promise from Allah Almighty and Rasulullah in their promises that anyone will be progressing in this way, struggling in this way, Allah Almighty will be engraving by lights His greatest name, Al-Aliyyul A'la, on his heart, the greatest name of Allah Almighty, and on every cell of his body. And he will be meeting at the end Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who will be guiding him from Wahdaniyah to the ocean of wahadiyya, of uniqueness of Allah Almighty. And there Allah Almighty will dress him by a godly, divinely self from Allah Almighty, and he will be a one, divinely one. He is a one who is, if he say to something be, it will be. He will be a one dressed like prophets, like sealed of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by lights from Allah Almighty, by the divinely godly word of command. Even he is not a prophet, he is not sealed of prophet, but he is the one whom prophets and sealed of prophet and awliya make him to be beloved to them, and choosing him for his sincerity with Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all prophets, and choosing how to progress and to ascend in the ways leading to sincerity with Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to heavenly stations, leaving all these earthly stations, these materialistic physical stations, and ascending in the divine stations of Allah Almighty. It's not something easy to talk, but so difficult to practice it. It's so difficult to reach it. As Sayyidina Jalaluddin Rumi Qaddasallahu Sirruh, when he used to worry, and when he is worrying, and by dhikrullah, progressing, ascending, whirling and ascending, whirling, ascending, until all his murids and followers seeing him over clouds high, as if he is flying, as if like missiles up into the space, into heavens going. Like this he used to be. Why? Because he chose Allah Almighty instead to choose this materialistic life, luxurious life. Even Allah giving him all kind of luxuries, even allowing him to use music, which never allowed to any awliya to use. Even though he was so high, Allah upgrading him and beloved to Allah Almighty and to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and getting his secret from Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, when Rasulullah addressed him by the good tidings from Allah Almighty to be the Siddiq of children of Adam, Siddiq of Rasulullah, Siddiq for Allah Almighty, he was whirling and whirling and whirling Siddiq, that he was no more feeling by his humanity, but he was ascending in Mi'raj in front of Rasulullah by the guidance of Rasulullah, in all divinely godly words of names, of attributes, of oneness of Allah Almighty, wahdaniyya, of uniqueness, to the ocean of ahadiyya of Allah Almighty. And this secret was given to Sayyidina Jalaluddin Rumi from Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radwanullahi alayhi. While the spiritual Ahlul Bayt, the spirituality, the soul of Rasulullah, the light whom they are created from the light of the soul of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the ones whom they were created from the lights of the soul of Rasulullah. And the soul of Rasulullah, it is not like any soul of us or ordinary soul, different totally, something else which cannot be imagined or cannot be described, because he was the one whom Allah Almighty make him to be the one whom Allah Almighty blowing from his uncreated soul into Adam alayhi salam. This secret was sealed of Prophet Muhammadun Rasulullah, entering into Adam and life getting in Adam alayhi salam. because he was the one whom representing the Creator, Allah Almighty, the eternal life from Allah Almighty, the water of life from Allah Almighty, to enter into all whatever Allah appearing as a created thing dressed by life from Allah Almighty. And for this Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam addressing this secrets and realities to Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anh, and dressing him to be the father of all the spiritual Ahlul Baytul Nabi and spiritual Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Imam appointed from Siddiq to carry this amana to all the times was the Sahabi Jaleel Sayyidina Salman al-Farisi. And for this Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he addressed him by this good tidings, Salman minna ahl al-bayt, that Salman is from us the holy family of Rasulullah, but spiritual family, because he is the Imam. Everyone through him will pass to reach and to cross to the ocean of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, whom he is the light and he is the representative of this hadith of Rasulullah, of this talk of Rasulullah, of this station, not only hadith or talk, but the station to be the spiritual Ahlul Bayt, to be the spiritual lights of the soul of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which entering into Adam alayhi salam, and to all children of Adam, and to all malaika, and to all creations, malaika, jinn, animals, plants, whatever, anything entering into him life, this life is coming from Allah Almighty through his beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as uncreated secret from Allah Almighty addressed to everyone of creation. And this all new knowledge. And the one whom he wants spiritualities, if you ask me about Sharia, if you ask me about explanation of the Holy Quran, if you ask me about explanation of Holy Hadith, our Imam Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshbandi, Muhammad al-Wasi al-Bukhari, he say, go to the muftis, to the ulama. They are specialized in this. But anyone wants the divinely ways guiding to Allah Almighty, the divinely ways leading to the divinely essence of Allah Almighty, to the divinely word of beloved Muhammadun Rasulullah. This we are specialized. This our specification. We are the ones whom Allah addressed us and Rasulullah to be specialized in this. So anyone wants, come to me, he said, Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshbandi. Come to us. We will guide you and lead you to that divinely godly word of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. You want law, Sharia of Rasulullah, you want to study the hadith, the explanation of the letters of the Holy Quran, you want to be understanding how to discipline yourself in worshipping, there is reformers, Sayyidina Imam Shafi'i, Sayyidina Ahmad bin Hanbal, Sayyidina Imam Malik, Sayyidina Imam Abu Hanifa. They are the Imams of all the sincere ulama, whom they will show you all these ways, all this knowledge. But the one who wants the other kind of knowledge, the other oceans, the oceans of secrets and realities, the oceans of divinely knowledge, which is coming to be in touching to each other without interfering. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, representing the door of the city of realities, of secrets of beloved Rasulullah, and Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu, he is the one representing the door of the city of realities of divinely knowledge, of divinely godly word, of attributes and names and deeds of Allah Almighty. And these two oceans touching, not entering inside each other, but there is a veil between them. And in this veil there are the Imams whom, if you like to be in realities and secrets of divinely knowledge, can lead you, and whom specialize to dress you or to teach you how to dive into these oceans, to collect from the jewels which Allah created it and dress it into these oceans. While the knowledge of Sharia, of the law of Allah Almighty, which Allah Almighty dressed to His prophets, and like Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, when he was asking Allah Almighty, let me see such kind of divinely knowledge, Allah sent for him a sincere servant to teach him the will of Allah Almighty, to teach even his Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, the one whom Allah talking to him and talking to Allah Almighty, and he was in need to a sincere awliya of the nation of Rasulullah to appear for him and to show him some of this knowledge of the will of Allah Almighty, of divine knowledge. How about the knowledge of realities and secrets, which is totally in the absolute hidden maqam chamber, which related to the divinely essence of Allah Almighty and to the divinely essence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for this Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, as Maulana Qaddasallahu grandshare Maulana Shaykh Nazim, they say, إنما الأعمال بالنيات, everything by intention, and Allah will give you according to your niyyah, to your intention. How much your intention is, or niyyah, is so sincere with Allah Almighty, sincere with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sincere with creations of Allah Almighty, sincere with children of Adam alayhi salam, without to differentiate between them, but to consider all of them that they represent the divinely godly word of Allah Almighty, because Allah created them by His hand and make them to be Khalif for Allah Almighty. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ خَلَفَاءً فِي الْأَرْضِ, Allah make them to be Khalif in this planet, in this earth. Not only this globe, but kind of earth, all universes, all related to earthly stations. The Khalif in it is this created perfect man, whom Allah Almighty dressed him by all these divinely godly satellites, heavenly one, earthly one, over the throne, under the throne, making him to be sparkling and like lightning in his ascending to the divinely presence of Allah Almighty. And according to your niyyah, to your sincerity, to your intention, Allah Almighty, He is the one to know what between you and Him. And Rasulullah is the one to know what is between you and Him. No one else knows. No one can interfere in your intention, in your niyyah. This intention and niyyah is only in your heart, and no one can enter into the heart except Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for this no one else can know what's going on in you, what's going on in the one of us. Only it is between you and Allah Almighty, between you and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is between yourself and between your Creator, between your God, Allah Almighty. If it is good, Allah will reward you by goodness. If it is bad, Allah is the most forgivable and merciful one. And for this, never to sit in any meeting or to start any meeting except to make niyyah that I am making intention to be in the divine presence of Allah Almighty, of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, with a sincere intention, by the niyyah also to be by nawaitu the 40, al-arba'in, the khalwa, suluk, the uzla, to be isolated myself between only with Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, not connecting with anyone else than them. Also by spiritual practicing and exercising to be the soul worshipping Allah Almighty, the soul ascending you and upgrading you, not the physical body, but to put your physical body inside your soul, the soul to cover your physical body, not the physical body to cover your soul. Then never you will reach to anything. And for this one, Sayyidina Jalaluddin Rumi, he make his soul to be covering his body. He was able to whirl and to reach to the heavenly stations. When Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, dressed by good tidings and making his soul to cover his physical body, and his physical body to enter into his soul, he was able to whirl to reach to the uniqueness of Allah Almighty. When Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu wa karramallahu wajhah, dressed by good tidings from Rasulullah, and he was seeing nothing from throne to throne except only Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was covering by his soul, making his physical body inside his soul. Anyone worshipping, anyone making his soul to be present in his physical body, then he will be captured by his ego, by his satanic word, poisoning all this nice and goodness given to him from Allah Almighty, of praising and glorifying Allah Almighty. Now we are coming today at the end of Muharram, of the month of Muharram al-Haram, and now this eve starting the first day of the month of Safar al-Khair, whom this month is a heavy burden to awliya. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to say, who will give me a good tidings that this month of Safar is over, finished? Because it was a month in which Allah Almighty punished all the past nations, was in this month of Safar. And Maulana says still the trace, the athar, the trace of the punishment which dressed over all the past nation of 124,000 prophets, still the trace of it as arrow of punishment descending over everyone whom has a bad intention, bad niyyah, unrespecting to children of Adam alayhi salam, or a non-believer, unrespecting Allah Almighty, unrespecting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, unrespecting awliyaullah, unrespecting awliyaullah, Ahlul Baytul Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, making his mind to control him, his mind to dress him by knowledge, not going into his heart, into his soul, to dress him by knowledge, but he is happy by the knowledge dressed to him by his mind. And for this, the first one whom dressed by his mind and the knowledge of his mind was Iblis, Satan, whom he was disobeying Allah Almighty, and Allah ordering him, bow, make sujood to Adam. He used his mind and he got his knowledge from his mind. Why? To make sujood, to bow for a created thing, while I am making sujood only for the Creator. I am better than him. He is from mud, I am from fire. And only by this thinking and disobeying, Allah curses him, curses his worshipping, bankrupting him from all the goodness which Allah addressed to him, and throw him out of his mercies, and was in the valleys of the curses and representing the satanic world. This is mine. And everyone like everything to be depending on mind, because everyone thinks that the mind make your eyes to see, make your ears to hear, make your tongue to talk, make your nose to exhale and inhale, make all whatever instruction to the body coming from the mind, from the brain. No, it is not like this at all. The mind is nothing, the brain is nothing. Even whatever it contains from cells, sheets, nerves, which connecting everything to give order to the physical body, it is nothing except a keyboard for the soul to upload knowledge from the heart, from the realities and spiritualities of the soul, will be uploading through this keyboard and to the mind, and then put enter, and they will enter to the mind. If the soul delete them, finish. No more your mind can give you any order. If the heart not giving the orders, if the heart not giving from the spiritualities of the soul and your realities to your soul, to load to your brain, then your brain will be mentally sick and no more to be working. And nothing you can then give any order to your body. The eyes will work by the orders of the eyes of the heart, not by the eyes of the mind. Try it. Sometimes you look at your watch, and then if these eyes are not well connected with the eyes of the heart, that's a second, then you will say, I didn't realize quietly well what is the time, so you will look again until the heart and the eyes of the heart seeing well and making the brain and the mind to make these eyes to be recognizing what they loaded and ordered them, you cannot know the time. The same, anyone talking to you, if the heart and the soul not uploading this knowledge to your mind, you will say, repeat the question, I didn't get it. And the same for everything in your life. And for this, be careful, children of Adam alayhi salam. Be careful, the one who seeking for spirituality, not to be a loser by following your mind, like shaitan, like Satan, who was losing everything and was a loser by following his mind. And he promised that I am going to trap all children of Adam alayhi salam, to make them trapped in my trap and to lose their akhirah, to lose their spiritualities, to lose their realities, to reach to Allah Almighty and to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for this now coming a month is a very nice month and a good month for the one who has good intention, for the one who depending and relating himself to Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, and through his heart making good intention and sincerity, which no one knows it except Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. And it is a very worse month and full with hours of punishment for the one who depending on his satanic word and his mind and following what his mind telling him to do, he is going to fall down and to be a loser. May Allah forgive us and mercy us. إلى شرف النبي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله وصحبه حضرة أستاذنا أستاذ أسامة صديق الله تعالى الفاتحة. آمين. short Sahra, because we are today resting, and this coming directly from the heart of Grand Sheikh or Nana Sheikh from their station. So we will make short so people can understand and get it. If I want to make it long, then they will miss these important points in it. Because we are here sitting every day, inshallah. 2, 3, 4 times we can do. Yeah, I have nothing. I am free now, and you are free, inshallah. We will try to have from this books of secrets all these knowledge which come, inshallah.